Hello everyone, my name's India, and I'm doing the third video in a series that I'm making, talking about, discussing, reacting to, conversing with Art as Therapy by Alain de Botton and John Armstrong. If you want to know what I'm doing specifically, I'll link you to the introduction that I made for this series that I'm making, and also the other videos in this series. But basically, I'm taking the ideas stated here about the purposes of art and applying them to books and literature. So today, the books that I'll be discussing all fall under the category of books that introduce us to sorrow and hardship in order to help us deal with sorrow and hardship in our own lives. I think this goes beyond just sad books for me, because there are a lot of books that are sad because an important character dies, or because someone loses everything, and those are important lessons for us to recognize and understand. But the books that I talk about today deal with grief specifically in really thought-provoking and respectful ways that I think someone who's gone through grief in reading this will kind of find solace and appreciation for. The first book I want to talk about is Bluets by Maggie Nelson. This is a memoir, poetry, fiction, non-genre, hard-to-explain book. I read this earlier in the year, and basically this is, in some ways, Maggie Nelson reflecting on the color blue, but in other ways reflecting on how she deals with grief, how she deals with heartbreak, and how she keeps moving through life in a really philosophical way. The book itself is set up in little paragraphs that are numbered. There are, I think, like 240 of them, and this was a phenomenal book. But besides the point, this book deals with how someone experiences their own grief, but also how someone can take on someone else's grief, which was really interesting, and I highly recommend this book. The next book that I think does a really good job of portraying grief and doing it really respectfully and also in a different way is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, inspired from Shabam Dowd and illustrated by Jim Kay. This book is about a young boy, Connor, who starts to be visited by a monster who apparently just wants the truth and wants to spread the truth. This book is absolutely heartbreaking. It is especially so because it deals with sadness and hardship in a younger age range, which I think is a little bit more difficult to read about sometimes, and also more difficult to do correctly, or to discuss in an accurate or respectful or authentic way. But I think that this was done absolutely fantastically. It helps. The illustrations are fantastic. They add so much to the book and so much to the atmosphere of the book, and I really did appreciate this. The last book that I want to talk about is We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. This book is about Marin, who is just going off to college, but also kind of runs away from a family loss. This book talks about how we deal with grief, how we may or may not cope. It's all set in a very short span of time. It's over the first couple days, maybe the week of her winter break, Marin's winter break, where she's at school and not returning to home. And just, this deals with what it feels like to be isolated mentally and physically from the people that you know and care about. And yeah, it was done very well. These are books that, if you've experienced grief and you read them, they kind of resonate. Or it did with me, at least. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you've watched other videos I've made on this subject, and I'll see you in another video.